Hello, welcome to US News. Today I will take you to Xavier's shifting defenses present a challenge for Gonzaga. San Jose, California. So, what can Gonzaga expect defensively from Xavier, its Elite Eight opponent on Saturday? A lot. The Musketeers run a 1-3-1 defense, except when they run a 2-3 zone, and they only run those zones when they're not playing man-to-man. They switch defenses on the fly, and the higher-seeded teams they've already slain this NCAA tournament have been confounded Xavier's defensive metamorphoses. "It's definitely an area that our team's improved," said coach Chris Mack when asked about his team's quick changes. "I probably didn't give them a chance to improve early in the year because we didn't play multiple defenses, but I think we recognize a program that in order to give our guys the best chance to compete, that was what we had to do." Xavier's use of multiple defenses is more stopgap measure than program identity, even though it has anchored the team's NCAA tournament run. Mack recognized that his team was not good at man-to-man defense during the year, and also as injuries mounted he needed to find ways to save his players' energy while playing them heavier minutes. For Gonzaga's part, Bulldogs coach Mark Few did not seem too worried about his players being confused by Xavier's different defensive looks. "These guys are pretty intuitive about the difference between a 1-3-1 and a 2-3 and how to attack it," Few said. "So I don't think we're going to get too caught up in that." Gonzaga Xavier men's basketball history. Gonzaga's last hurdle before reaching the program's first Final Four is the Xavier Musketeers, whom the Bulldogs have beaten 3 times in their 4 meetings. Both schools have made it to the Elite Eight 3 times, but neither has reached the Final Four. Xavier and Gonzaga both own 27 NCAA Tournament wins. The Bulldogs have beaten Xavier in the last 3 matchups, with the latest being a 72-65 victory on New Year's Eve in 2011. The year before, Gonzaga beat the Musketeers 64-54 on December 22, 2010, in Spokane. In 2006, the third-seeded Zags were paired with Xavier in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Gonzaga edged out a 79-75 victory despite trailing 39-36 at the half. Adam Morrison scored 35 points for the Bulldogs. The first meeting between the programs resulted in a Xavier win, 87-82 on December 23, 1960. Gonzaga-Xavier key matchups. Gonzaga's defensive priority against Xavier is dealing with 6'6" junior wing Trevin Blyat. The versatile Blyat has made 11 three-pointers and scored at least 20 points in all 3 of Xavier's NCAA tournament wins. The Zags probably have 2 options in their starting lineup. They can go with speed and quickness with Jordan Matthews or size with Jonathan Williams. Silas Melson will probably be the first option coming off the bench. Xavier's task will be Gonzaga bigs Przemek Kardowski, Zach Collins, Killian Tilly, and Williams. The Zags will have a size advantage, but the Musketeers figure to play his own defense. Tyreek Jones, 6'9" and 237 pounds, is the only starter taller than 6'6" but 6'10". Reserve Sean O'Mara contributed 8 points and 4 rebounds in a victory over Arizona on Thursday. Gonzaga faces red-hot Xavier with Final Four spot on the line. San Jose, California. In coach Mark Few's mind, Gonzaga has gone from facing one of the most unique styles in college basketball to one of hottest teams left in the NCAA tournament. West Virginia was all about pressure defense. Gonzaga solved it well enough to pull out a 61-58 victory Thursday. Xavier is all about offensive versatility and changing defenses. And proving doubters wrong. "Xavier has our full attention," said Few, 1 victory away from guiding the second-ranked Zags, 35-1, to the first Final Four in program history. "I mean, they are on an absolute roll, shooting the ball probably as good as anybody in the tournament right now." The 11th-seeded Musketeers, 24-13, have embarked on a magical march after a 6-game losing streak late in the regular season threatened to derail their tournament hopes. A Big East tournament win over Butler probably clinched Xavier's at-large bid. Still, not much was expected from Xavier entering the tournament. The Musketeers lost starting point guard Edmund Sumner, 15 points per game, 5 assists, to a season-ending knee injury in late January, and standout wing Trevin Blyant was battling an ankle injury that he says still hasn't quite fully healed. "We came closer," said freshman Quentin Goodin, who stepped in for Sumner at point guard. Malcolm Bernard called a team meeting after senior night and said, "We have to quit this losing stuff or we're not going to make the tourney. We wanted to show everybody we're not done." Far from it. Xavier has tourney wins over number 6 Maryland, number 3 Florida State and number 2 Arizona. The Musketeers thumped Florida State by 25. They beat Arizona with a 9-0 closing kick in a 73-71 victory Thursday. They join LSU, 1987, as the only squads in tournament history to beat 3 top 6 seeds in their first 3 games. Blyant, a 6'6" junior wing who originally committed to UCLA, is averaging 25 points in the tournament. He dropped 40 points on Cincinnati in late January. "I would say I'm more of a 3, a 2, a 4, said Blyant, when asked about his position. "Whatever position needs to be done. I'm physically strong enough to compete with some of the bigs. As far as IQ, shooting and ball handling, I feel like I can't be with the guards." Blyant is one of several Musketeers in the 6'4" to 6'6" range that can score from beyond the three-point arc or off the dribble. Blyant is shooting nearly 48% on threes and the team checks in at 46.4. He's a nice-sized wing capable of making threes, a little bounce to his game, and he has a ton of freedom, said Zag's assistant coach Tommy Lloyd, who joined Donnie Daniels in compiling the scouting report. "Just a guy we're going to dedicate a lot of attention to and try not to give him much space." Lloyd said Xavier players have freedom to create, but the team also runs a high number of set plays. Xavier, despite only one starter taller than 6'6", outscored Arizona's sizable frontcourt 38-32 in the paint. "They probably get tired of hearing me say this, that you have to get the ball into what we call the box, the lane, through a few ways," Coach Chris Mack said. "And that's through post-ups, drives, offensive rebounds and set plays." Gonzaga can expect to see quite a bit of zone defense, which could put pressure on the guards to deliver from the perimeter. Arizona was just 7 of 27 from distance. "A zone leaves a lot of threes available," Gonzaga guard Silas Melson said. "But our main attack is being ourselves and still trying to get it into our big guys down low because they're so efficient." The Musketeers use a 1-1-3, 2-3 and 1-3-1. They relied on a 7-man rotation against Arizona, and the zone helps keeps players fresher. "Quite honestly, we weren't very good at man," Mack said, "and I'm not going to keep doing something if it's not effective." Matchup allows Xavier to get a load of Gonzaga's Przemek Karnowski. San Jose, California. It seems like every team that doesn't regularly play Gonzaga throughout the season meets the Zags with open mouths and wide eyes. Their shock is usually directed toward the big fellow with an even bigger beard. Like most teams in the postseason, Xavier has been a bit surprised at the size Przemek Karnowski brings to the post. Musketeers head coach Chris Mack said Karnowski's 7'1", 300-pound stature and his ability to move the ball has caused some concern to his team heading into the Elite Eight showing with Gonzaga on Saturday. "He's a load," Mack said on Friday. Mack compared Karnowski's build to that of 6'10", 270-pound Matt Stainbrook, who left Xavier 2 years ago. "The similarities, they're eerie," Mack said. "There are plenty of similarities between the two, such as size and their offensive leadership on the stat sheet. But there are also a mound of differences, which has made scouting the Goose Center somewhat difficult for Xavier." Karnowski's force in the paint and his defensive pressure at the hoop is unlike anything the Musketeers have seen this year. Mack said preparing for the big man won't be an easy task. He has a great touch, a unique ability to pass from his position, Mack said. Gonzaga does a good job of keeping him in the rim defensively. That's one of the reasons they have the best defense in the country by their numbers. So he's a big challenge. But Mack's players seem to be up for the challenge. Xavier freshman forward Tyreek Jones said keeping the star center down is as simple as doubling up the pressure. We have to come out and be tough and just contain him and make everything that he gets tough, and he has to work harder for it than we do, Jones said on Friday. That's basically it. Many thanks for watching our channel video. If you see or click the subscribe button and share to support yourself offline. Thank you and see you in the next newsletter. Bye bye.